Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Vijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Radha Shamasundar Radha Shamasundar Radhe Jaya Radha Shamasundar Radha Shamasundar Radhe Prabhupada Jai Jai Prabhupada Jai Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Gaur Premanandi Hari Om Hare Krishna. So I'm ready whenever you are. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading Bhagavad Gita. 5:13. Okay. Sarva-karmāṇi manasā sannyasyāste sukhaṁ vaśī nava-dvāre pure dehī naiva kurvan kārayan sarva-karmāṇi manasā sannyasyāste sukhaṁ vaśī nava-dvāre pure dehī naiva kurvan kārayan. Do we repeat or should I just go ahead and do the synonyms? Okay.
You can carry on.
I will carry on. Sarva, all, karmāṇi, activities, manasā, by the mind, sannyasya, giving up, asate, remains, sukhaṁ, in happiness, vaśī, one who controlled, nava-dvāre, in the place where there are 9 gates, pure, in the city, dehī, the embodied soul, na, never, eva, certainly, kurvan, doing anything, na, not, kārayan, causing to be done. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The embodied soul lives in the city of 9 gates. The activities of the body, or the figurative city of body, are conducted automatically by its particular modes of nature. The soul, although subjecting himself to the conditions of the body, can be beyond those conditions if he so desires. Owing only to forgetfulness of his superior nature, he identifies with the material body and therefore suffers. By Krishna consciousness, he can revive his real position, thus come out of his embodiment. Therefore, when one takes to Krishna consciousness, one at once becomes completely aloof from bodily activities. In such a controlled life in which his deliberations are changed, he lives happily within the city of 9 gates. The 9 gates are mentioned as follows. Nava-dvāre pure dehī hamso lelayate bahi vaśī sarvasya lokasya stavarasya charasya cha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is living within the body of a living entity, is the controller of all living entities all over the universe. The body consists of 9 gates, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, the anus, and the genitals. The living entity, in his conditioned stage, identifies himself with the body, but when he identifies himself with the Lord within himself, he becomes just as free as the Lord, even while in the body. Shveta Shvatarupanishad. Therefore, a Krishna conscious person is free from both the outer and inner activities of the material body. Om Ajnana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitang Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svavatantigam Vanchakalpaturubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachate Shatarane. So we're all very, very fortunate. Brahmanda Brahmi Pekon Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. We're all wandering in this material world in different forms of life, sometimes in the higher planetary system, sometimes in the lower planetary systems. Here we are on planet Earth, a tiny little planet. And there are so many life forms. So now we've been gifted the human form of life. How fortunate we are that somehow we've stumbled upon the mercy of great Vaishnava Srila Prabhupada in his teachings and his followers. So for millions and billions, trillions of years, we're rotating in this samsara cycle of birth and death. It's great struggle and great pain because Jivera Swarupoi Krishna Nityadas, we're all actual eternal servants of Krishna, have an eternal existence, and this body is simply a vehicle. But when embodied, because of our desires to enjoy in this material world, because of our desires for gratification, hard to imagine Krishna in the spiritual world expands himself from Goloka Vrindavan, which is beyond our imagination as to the size and activities and transcendental transformations, then expands himself in various personalities throughout the Vaikunthas. And so many unlimited living entities are also on the different Vaikuntha planets, serving Krishna and having various loving exchanges. So one little corner, 1/4, this Mahat Tattva and this temporary material world, unlimited universes are emanating from Mahavishnu, from Krishna, unlimited universes. And the past time when Lord Brahma came to see Krishna in Dwarka, and the doorkeeper inquired, because Krishna asked, which Brahma is this? He said, of course, it's the four-headed Brahma, the creator of the universe. What do you mean, Brahma? And immediately Krishna just meditated, and all the Brahmas and Shivas, all the controllers of the different universes, some with 4 heads, 10 heads, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, million heads, depending on the size of the universe in which they are rendering their service and creating. So Krishna is giving a spark of his splendor. When we hear Krishna's magnanimity or power and the qualities, transcendental qualities, we also have, just like a mine of gold, a small particle of gold has the same qualities as that gold mine. So Krishna has unlimited desires and unlimited powers, but we're covered over. And in a perverted way, somehow or other Krishna's put us or gave us this opportunity according to our desire and activities, karma daiva trena. Everybody is working in this world for happiness, and depending on the type of work that they do, the activities that they perform, we are creating our next life, our next body, and there's reactions for all our activities. Good pious activities, philanthropic activities, opening hospitals and helping educational situations and people in very humanitarian and philanthropic ways, mode of goodness. You get elevation, promotion, But even though one may be enjoying some heavenly pleasures for some short time, it's still a distraction, because ultimately we don't want to be in the first class prison. We want to go to that place where the repetition of birth and death is finished. So when Brahma saw all these creators and all these Brahmas, he felt totally insignificant. He says, others may say that they understand something about Krishna, but as far as I'm concerned, I have no understanding. He was actually humbled and feeling like a little mosquito amongst elephants. So we are fortunate because we have a wonderful opportunity, and we sometimes take it for granted as well. That doesn't matter how much austerity or charity or meditation or yoga or philanthropic activities one does, if we don't develop our loving relationship with Krishna by hearing and chanting in a pure way, hearing about Krishna from pure devotees, from bona fide literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Upadeshamrita. These literatures are customized for us, because if one is reading too many books and having little knowledge here, little knowledge there, just to quote references to show his learning or abilities, this is sometimes distracting and doesn't give one the clear understanding, the proper understanding of the message of Godhead. So although there's repetition throughout Srila Prabhupada's books, you're not the body, dehī nosmin yat adehe kumarang yavanang jara tatadehantara praptir dhirastatra namuyati. The embodied soul continually passes from boyhood to youth to old age and passes into another body at the time of death. But the one who's on an elevated platform is not bewildered by such a change. So all these activities are described in Bhagavad Gita, how one can become free from the bodily concept of life. That Arjuna is asking questions to Krishna. How do I control the restless mind, which is more difficult to control than the raging wind? How can I control these senses? Because the senses are, I'm forcibly pushed by lust, by anger, by greed, by envy, by jealousy. All these are activities in this material world which actually have taken shelter within the body and the intelligence, the mind. And so, no matter by our own personal endeavor, it's not that we're going to achieve the ultimate goal, but we need the blessings of Krishna and Guru, Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya Chitite Koriya Akya, that we need to associate with the Guru. And how to associate with the Guru? By hearing his instructions, by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, by reading Bhagavad Gita, by chanting the Lord's holy name. Prabhupada given us an opportunity to follow a regulation. And that regulation is the rising early in the morning and coming for the Mangalarti and seeing the beautiful form of the deities, chanting the Maha Mantra together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And keeping association with devotees, avoiding the association of non-devotees. Because non-devotees' interest is simply in sense gratification. They're simply thinking how to exploit the resources, how to be number one, and how to have the relation of the opposite sex, and how to basically degrade oneself in this world. We heard the story of a Jamil, how even though he was Brahmanically trained and had a good upbringing, simply by seeing the activities of intoxicated people trying to enjoy the physical relationship, it threw him off the track of his Krishna consciousness. But Krishna is very kind. He's very merciful. He's always looking to bring the devotee back on track and give him another chance, another opportunity to fulfill. Once starting this path, Krishna consciousness, it's very difficult to give up this Krishna, although sometimes we see that there are people, all of us have difficulties and deviations with the mind. But the Bhagavad Gita is the beautiful philosophy of Krishna consciousness. And Arjuna is walking us through, actually guiding us by asking the questions of how do we know who is fixed in transcendental consciousness? How does he walk? How does he talk? What is his behavior? Just like when Rupa and Sanatana Goswami came to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya empowered them. Although they're eternal associates of the Lord, and they had loving exchanges, Sanatana Goswami was being instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about the process of devotional service. But Lord Chaitanya was speaking in such a way to Sanatana Goswami. He was describing the beauty of Krishna and how Krishna attracts all living entities throughout the universe, how the gopis are attracted to Krishna, how all the residents of Vrindavan are attracted to Krishna, and just describing the beautiful features and his smile, and broad smile from ear to ear, and his lotus eyes, reddish lotus eyes. And obviously, this is a high level of appreciation of Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya was saying, I don't know I didn't mean to speak all these things, but you've inspired me to speak in this way. And Sanatana Goswami, even though he is hearing from the Lord all these incredible descriptions of Krishna's beauty and Krishna's power, he's just totally amazed. So we're following the footsteps of the six Goswamis: Shri Rupa, Shri Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. The six Goswamis are the messengers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishna Sangopangastra Parshadam Jagnai Sankirtan Prayajanti Hisumedasaha. Everyone's following some religious process or some process of self-realization. But in this age of Kali, the process is to worship Krishna. Blackish, and he comes with all his associates, and his activities are Harinam Sankirtan, the Sankirtan Yagya, Kali Kalir Narma Krishna Dam Sankirtan, that this chanting of the holy name brings us to our spiritual consciousness, that not only hearing the holy name, chanting the holy name, but the more we hear and chant, then our natural inclination and desire for Krishna will awaken. And by this process of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, we'll remember Krishna. The two golden rules: always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Imagine chanting Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So faith is an important aspect. Shraddha, the one who has firm faith in Krishna, that has firm faith in Guru, that because naturally in this world, people have a tendency to question or doubt, why I should believe you? I have my own way. I know what's best. And Munis and philosophers, they have different philosophies and different ideas about the process of self-realization. But we need to have that unbending faith, that very vyavastayatmika buddhi rekeha kurunandana bahushaka hyanantas chabudayo vyavasayanam. We need to be firmly fixed and determined that Srila Prabhupada is a representative and associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of God, that same Supreme Person who's creating unlimited worlds and universes and pastimes and activities. And he's actually the source of us. Krishna is eternal, we're eternal. Krishna says, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. And the whole second chapter was convincing Arjuna that for the soul is neither birth nor death, nor having once been does he ever cease to be. He's eternal, ever existing, undying, primeval. He's not slain when the body is slain, not withered by the wind, not burnt by fire, not cut to pieces in any way. So the spirit soul is infallible like Krishna, but that minute, imagine 1/10,000th the tip of a hair. You take a tip of a hair, cut it in 100 pieces, and cut it again into 100 pieces. 1/10,000th the tip of the size of the hair. But that atomic particle spirit soul is so powerful. Just see how Prahlad Maharaj, by the practice of yoga, and Dhruva Maharaj, by practice of austerity and holding the breath control, the whole universe felt choked up. Hiranyakashipu, by his performance of sacrifice, terrified the whole world. So the spirit soul, although covered, without that spark within the body, that life force is gone. And the proof of the spirit soul is the consciousness permeating from the head to the toe to all the fingertips, and we can feel. You can feel. So this is the presence of consciousness. So that spirit soul is powerful, like Krishna. Not that we become Krishna, not that we're all one, homogeneous unit, and somehow we've taken birth so that we have our individuality. And once we give up this bodily engagement and free the soul, then it becomes again one with the ocean of eternality. This is not the philosophy, that we remain individual. In the past we were individuals, now we're individuals, in the future we shall remain individuals. So this is a beautiful philosophy, and Krishna couldn't come to me without fail. I promise you this, you're my very dear friend. So these are verses, Krishna's speaking, Krishna's loving. It's not that he's impersonal. The father is naturally concerned for the children and looking, how can I help my child so he doesn't suffer so much fear in this material world. Adhyatmic, adhidaivic, adhibodhic. The mind is giving troubles. As the old age sets in, it cannot see. I'm having my teeth are troubling me. I can't hear properly. We all lose all our hair. Everything slackens. More difficult to go up and down the stairs. Everything becomes more troublesome. Adhyatma, adhidaiva. Just see how there's forest fires, there's hurricanes, there's tornadoes. Also, there's pandemic going on. So much suffering in the world from the Mother Nature. Sometimes it's too hot, too cold, too much water, not enough water. So these adhyatmic, adhidaivic, adhibodhic, other living entities causing trouble, flies, mosquitoes, the government, taxation, so many difficulties in this world. And although we may think that that's okay, I can tolerate all these difficulties, let me just carry on, as long as I can have a take care of my family, my nation. This is a bodily concept of life, that I'm in this particular body, is born in a particular type of land, and my duty is to serve my motherland and serve the needs of my body. It's not easy to get free from the bodily concept, but the formula is there. There are rules and regulations to follow, and by following rules and regulations, Prabhupada gives the example of typing. You want to learn to type, so you're looking at the typing book or program. You're studying where the fingers go and where to tap and space bar and capitalize and all those different things. And after sufficient rehearsal and practice, you can be talking to someone, your fingers are moving, and very quickly everything is just going on almost spontaneously. And so there's Nitya-siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabunoi, that this love for Krishna is present in the heart of every living being, but it's covered over. Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Cheto Darpanam Arjanam, the mind is being cleansed by this chanting process. So in the beginning, although it may be difficult it seems like a regiment, I'm chanting rounds, okay, I got a schedule, I follow rules and regulations, and I'm reading, I'm doing everything in a robotic way or maybe non-spontaneous. But with proper guidance from Guru and reading scripture and chanting the holy name, keeping association of devotees, living in the holy dham, where the temple is, where the worship of the deity is, reading Bhagavatam daily, worshiping Tulsi daily, worshiping Vaishnavas. These are all symptoms, these are all activities meant for awakening that Nitya-siddha Krishna Prem by peeling the covers off. Just like pure water is there, but if you add coloration to it, it changes the color of the water. So our consciousness is pure, absolutely pure. But with our desires to enjoy this material world, it becomes colored and covered. Then many layers and layers of covers are covering the spirit soul, so that we have so many misidentifications in the ego, the subtle covering, the mind, intelligence, and ego. So the gross senses are there, but the mind, intelligence, and ego are catering to the desires of the senses. There's even a prayer that I've given so much service to the senses, to the desires of material enjoyment, but they're never satisfied. They never give me relief, no matter how much attention I've paid to them and how much I strive to satisfy the mind, satisfy the senses. Still I'm not happy. This happiness will not manifest itself by that kind of endeavor. So we want to approach Guru. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevai upadekshanti te jnanam jnananas tatpadarshana. Those who are in distress and fear, those who are desirous of wealth, those who are inquisitive, and those who are after knowledge of the absolute truth. These are candidates to take up the process of devotional service. And by making that kind of endeavor, by approaching the Guru and inquiring submissively and rendering service, then the advancement is taking place automatically. Sometimes Krishna puts us in difficult situations. We're seeing, right now we're in 10th canto in Srimad Bhagavatam during the Bhagavatam class, and we see how much difficulty Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, also Devaki and Vasudeva, the whole Yadu dynasty. When we read about Queen Kunti and the Pandavas and the historic struggle in Mahabharata, and throughout the history in the Bhagavatam, many situations, awkward situations in this material world are of struggle, and sometimes it appears, well, why do Krishna's devotees have to struggle? Why did Prabhupada have to struggle? So much endurance of traveling in the ocean and physical attack of heart attack, and what to speak of dealing with all the hippies and the drunkards and the Lower East Side. so much tolerance is there to give us strength that no matter how much difficulty there is, Krishna is there and ready to help us. He's sending us, he sent us Prabhupada, he's sending us messages that Yat karo Shri Krishnasi yat jahosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tad kurushma dvara. Whatever you do, whatever you give away, whatever austerities you perform, do it for me. Because everyone's doing something for a purpose, and that purpose might be the family, but ultimately is selfishly motivated in the material world. Everyone is looking out for number one themselves, although they're playing, nationalistic mentality, philanthropic mentality, or, family mentality. So, but our real family is Krishna in the spiritual world. And we have to strive towards that to surrender to Guru. And just like when you have an acute disease, you go to the doctor gives you medicine, gives you guidance. And if you take that medicine, if you have faith that the doctor is not some crazy quack, that this doctor is bona fide and he's properly analyzed my disease, he's given me the medicine that I need for the purpose of freeing me from the suffering. And you have that much faith, that much shraddha, then by following the routine in the medicinal regimen and a diet, taking Krishna Prasadam, and the medicine is chanting the holy name and hearing about Krishna's activities. Prabhupada said many times, sitting in front of my Guru Maharaj, I could not understand the high philosophical conclusions, but I just had great faith in my spiritual master, and I was very eager to sit in his presence and hear this Krishna Katha, this philosophy. So it may seem simplistic, and the philosophy, oh yeah, we've heard we're not the body, we're spirit, soul, and chant Hare Krishna. But that's not, it's very deep, like an ocean. And the more we enter into the mood of serving Prabhupada and Prabhupada's mission with gratitude, Srila Prabhupada, he set the example of an acharya, personal example, by his own behavior. He didn't want to take sannyas, but he said, my sannyas Guru Keshava Maharaj, he practically forced me to carry out the order of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. But Srila Prabhupada had a family life. He was poised to become very wealthy in business, but his whole life was Krishna from the very beginning, pure devotee, and showing us that to dedicate one's life for the mission of Krishna consciousness is a grand success and grand achievement. Because if we work on ourselves and we help others to become free from suffering, this is real humanitarian work. Titikshava karunika suhrida sarvadehanam ajata shatavashanta sarva sarabhushana. That we're tolerant, we're merciful, we're friendly to all living beings. We think about it, it's hard to be, friendly and tolerant to all living beings. Like I was just driving to the temple, somebody behind me is beeping, and you think, you get angry, like, what's the matter with you? So it's really, you have to always be introspective and look at ourselves. And whenever we see that the behavior is not proper, we should correct it. And keep good association. The best association is the holy name of the Lord. Together we can chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're not the body, we're spirit, soul. The perfection of religion is to satisfy Vishnu, Krishna, and the best way to satisfy Krishna is to please the Guru. Gopi, Bharatu, Padlakamariya, Das, 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 Anudas, that we want to become the servant of the servant of the servant, because this humility, it's an entrance to the holy name. Shanadapi Sunichana Tarorapi Saishnana Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. So we may not be humble, but by hearing about humility, about being tolerant, ready to offer respects to others, and that state of mind, if we can actually capture a glimpse of that state of mind of humility and a feeling of gratitude and appreciation for Vaishnavas and devotees, then the chanting of the holy name becomes more meaningful. Devotees say, I'm just trying to hear my rounds, just trying to chant the holy name with love. And we're calling out Krishna, somehow I fall into this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of suffering and engage me as one of your servants at your lotus feet. This is the prayer of all religion. God, you are great. I am your servant. Please engage me in your service. And this in a humble attitude, not we're demanding. Most religions, people want to ask God, oh, give me this and keep me safe and healthy and protect my family and protect my country and my nation, this and that. But our prayer to Krishna is let me be your servant. Let me serve your servant. Prahlad Maharaj was giving that how can I not appreciate my spiritual master Narada Muni? I just want to be his servant. So we all should take pleasure in being servants of Srila Prabhupada. And we feel fortunate here in Vrindavan Dham that we can try to render some service to the servants of Prabhupada, Krishna Balaram, Radha Shama Sundar, Lita Vishaka Devi, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai. The kirtan is enlivening, the deities are beautiful, and the opportunity to hear and chant about Krishna is abundant in the spiritual atmosphere. Just seeing all the unique, we just finished Purushottam Mas. Every morning on the way to the temple, people are doing Dandavat Parikrama, and you can see their enthusiasm and drive. They're practically running around Vrindavan and just chanting the holy names. And special to be born in Vrindavan, in India in particular, but in Vrindavan Dham, and to have that state of enthusiasm and state of mind that this is a special month for special advancement. Let me perform a little bit of austerity. And now Kartik is coming, so there's another opportunity for increasing the hearing and chanting. But it's actually very joyous. Raja Vijay Raja Goyam Pavitra Midamuttamam Prakashavaganam Dharmyam Shushupam Kartamadhyam, the king of education, the most secret of all secrets, the purest knowledge, the purest religion. It's everlasting and joyfully performed. Perfection of religion. So this Raja Vidya, this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, the holy name of Krishna, is everlasting and joyfully performed. So we need to sit in the kirtan and appreciate hearing the mridanga, the kartals, and the sweet holy name. Remembering the festivals, so many festivals throughout the year, so that we can all gather together and have that sadhu sangha and this katha of Krishna and the holy name, chanting together the holy name. So these are some of the thoughts and ideas from this verse, Bhagavad Gita. I am just talking here to my computer. I don't see anybody. So do we have any questions or comments? Ma? Something?
Any questions today? Thank you, inspiring class.
Thank you. I just, it forces me to try to also look at my own self, because many times when asked to give class, I've told the story many times. I was traveling Sankirtan. This is back in '76 in Dallas, and we were with Satsarup Maharaj. And I remember he said, given a chance to give class, don't let it pass. So although we may think, well, we're not qualified, or let others give class, but if you're given a chance, take on, because I know it's a little bit uncomfortable. So what am I going to say? Let someone else speak. We fall back into a comfort zone. In one sense, it puts us in a situation where you want to read a little bit extra enthusiastically so that I can say something of value to inspire the devotees, not only inspire the devotees, but also inspire myself, because we have a tendency to get a little lazy and complacent. And that complacency, that's not good. I was appreciating in our temple in Krishna Balaram Mandir, we had a festival meeting this morning, how we're working on the samadhi, we're doing renovation work, and we're developing our website, our newsletter, and also our social media preaching, our namahata camp, thinking about campus preaching, the ashram. So I feel like there's a lot of activity going on, and all that activity is meant ultimately to glorify Prabhupada and to help the conditioned souls appreciate the beauty of Krishna consciousness in the process. So I see Vrindavan Temple as a very, the most important temple. People take great inspiration and they have fond memories of coming to Vrindavan. So we like to leave them with a beautiful, come to see Prabhupada's beautiful home, the samadhi, everything's first class. The kirtans are wonderful, and the festivals wonderful. The deities are most beautiful. So sometimes we have to go beyond our comfort zone. So if you're asked to give class, got to do it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Does anyone else have any comments or questions? Please, you can unmute if you want to and ask, comment.
They're all perfectly happy.
Yeah. It's hard to get that discussion. My Guru Maharaj said this class should become like Machita Madkata Prana Bodhayantas Parasparam Katayantas cha Mamni Kushyanti cha Ramanti cha.
Yeah, I think we're going to also, you could start giving in Prabhupada's house, but you could still do it online as well for everyone. You could still do the live broadcasting on Facebook, even if the classes are being given in Prabhupada's house, correct?
Yeah, you need as long as the cameraman is available, there's no problem. I think a majority of the speakers will come into Prabhupada's house. Yeah. So I think you can do so. I may not come into Prabhupada's house yet.
No, but I'm just saying the Zoom can take place still the same way, just like now I have my. But anyway, thank you all for whoever was there. I don't know how many people were there, but
yeah, there's not so many people here today. But we started off with a good number on Facebook, and then dropped down to about 9 or 10. There's about 9 or 10 on Facebook that listen to the whole class. And then on the YouTube channel that I started, I've got more than 100 subscribers now. So there's a lot of people going back at different times and listening to the classes and may not be able to come live. So a comment from Vrindavan Eswari Mataji. She is saying, nice class. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being there.
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, let us know when you want to start on live and how we're going to set it up, because I'm a bit wary to come into Prabhupada's house because of it being a closed room. So therefore it's
yeah. No, we'll still continue your, like I said, your live broadcasting by streaming this way, but the speaker may be there, may be a few devotees, but you continue doing what you're doing that way, no problem.
Yeah, as long as we've got a cameraman to do the broadcast and put it on the Zoom, then there's no problem. And I think a lot of the speakers will probably come in. Thank you, Prabhu.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.